Hey, and welcome to the video. My name is Evan, and today I'll be showing you how to create a procedurally generated tower like this one, where we can take all of these different pieces, combine them into one blueprint, and also give you the ability to adjust tower height, section type, and roof type. I'll be providing a link to the asset pack that I'm using for this in the description. If you don't want to spend the money, you can just mock up something in Maya or Blender that looks similar to this. That should work out just fine. Alright, so let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and create a new blueprint, actor, rename it something like BP underscore auto tower, and go ahead and open that up. Slide this over, and just head to your construction script. All right, and we're ready. So we're going to begin with spawning the tower base. We're going to start with adding some instant static meshes that we're going to use. And that would be the floor, staircase, doorway, and column. Now that we've added our static meshes, we now want to make them spawn within our blueprint. We can do that by add instance, and then because we created these, they'll automatically show up right here. So I'm going to go ahead and add all of those. Next, we're going to create a few variable transforms so we can tell the blueprint where we should spawn these. We're going to add one for the base, stair offset, and the top. Alright, now would be a good time to compile and save. Alright, now we can start editing these variable transforms. For the base, we're going to leave it as blank because that's going to be our origin point for our tower. For stair offset, these specific set of stairs that I'm using line up at a negative 45-degree angle. Okay, now we're going to plug in base into the instance transform of doorway and floor. And stair offset obviously will go in the stairs. And then top for the column. All right, now we're just going to connect all those up and plug them into the construction script. All right, let's just hop over to the viewport and make sure things are running the way that they're supposed to. And yep, so far so good. All right, so now that we've finished the tower foundation, we can start to work on the middle section. This is where we can actually start to turn this blueprint into more of a tool and add some interactability for the artist. Now, I know we just connected these together, but I'm actually going to cut that and bring out a sequence and replug that into the first node, then bring out the second one, then put in for each loop. This makes it so every time the blueprint is updated, either in world or within the options, it'll fire off another executable. All right, so what we're going to do here is very similar to the last step, except we're going to add some options to determine what we spawn. In this case, we'll be adding a few options of windows so we can have some variation within our towers. So we'll start by adding those windows as another instant static mesh, and we're also going to add a section ring. We will be using the staircase, but we have that already. And just like before, we're going to bring them into our scene with add instance. Okay, so now that we have all these set up, we're actually going to go back to our for each loop, and we're actually going to give that a bit of information to work with. Oh, my bad. I just realized I have for each loop. I actually just need for loop. Okay, now that we got that fixed, we can start feeding it some information. Let's make a new variable, an integer, and call it tower height. Okay, I'm gonna drag that out, get tower height, and compile that real quick. And so for this one, this is gonna be one of our options, so we're gonna make that public so the artist can change the value. Okay, got that set up. And drag off of tower height, and we want integer minus integer. Plug that in to last index, and we're just going to leave it as -1 right there. Okay, compile and save. Okay, now we're going to drag off of index, and for this we want an integer times float. Okay, and now we're going to create another variable, make that one a float. I'm going to grab that and drag it in, get a variable, and let's rename this real quick. Let's name it to section height. Alright, there we go. Alright, now we're going to need to know the height of the pieces that we're going to be using. In order to do that, you want to open one of the pieces. And I have it already here, but in order to find the approximate size, just drop down, show stats. It'll show up. This one has a z height of 600. So let's close that. Open this back up. Compile so we can edit. Alright, and then we're going to change our section height here to 600. Got that. Compile again. And right after this, we're going to drag from here, add float plus float. And for this, we're going to put another 600. And alright, so now off of this, we're going to drag one more time and now do a make vector. And we're going to plug that into the z axis. Drag off of return value, make transform, and I'm going to do that one more time because we're going to need two separate ones here. Okay, got that all plugged in. Move that back a little bit. Okay, and so for the top one, we are going to leave it blank. For the bottom one, this is going to be for the stairs. So for the rotation, it's going to be set to z -45 degrees. Okay, let's get that all plugged in properly. This just goes to the staircase. This goes to just about everything else here. Alright, I'm just going to flip this around so it's a little more readable. There we are. Okay, and so we got this now. I'm going to compile that real quick. We're almost done with this section. Now we're going to add the actual functionality of selecting what type of window you want to use for the tower. And we're going to do that by assigning a number to all the different windows and then creating a system that checks to see which number you have selected and then only allowing those windows to spawn. But before we do that, I'm just going to do a bit of organizing so we can clear up our workspace here. Alright, okay, and we can start by creating a branch for each different type of window, so that would be 3 in this case. Okay, so these branches are going to check to see if the assigned window number lines up with the one that we have selected. Okay, so let's get an integer equals into each one of these. And we're also going to want to create another variable, change that also to an integer, make that public, rename that real quick to section type. Okay, compile that real quick. And then we're going to have the slider range go from 1 up to 3. We're going to have the value range be the same. There we go. Compile that one more time. Okay, going to plug all of these in. All right, and then we're going to bring our section type and plug that into the first value here. Okay, and then change the second value to 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to plug the true into the corresponding section, make sure they line up, same numbers. Okay, and got that all sorted. Gonna bring this in a little closer here. Okay, now let's drag out a sequence from our for loop. And I'm gonna give that about 3 more pins. And I'm gonna connect the first 2 to this, both the staircase and the ring. And the rest we're gonna plug into our branches here. Compile that real quick. Alright, now let's head over to the viewport, make sure things are working properly. Seems to be missing. Okay, I think that's because, yeah, our tower height actually, yeah, it's set to 0. First value needs to be set to 1. There we go. Alright, so we got that working. And let's try out the section type. Move that around. Oh, there we go. Alright, windows seem to be working. Nice. Alright, I'm just going to do some cleaning with this so we can make it look more readable. I'll be right back in a few seconds. Okay, so now that we have that all cleaned up and taken care of, we can actually start working on the top section of the tower. It's very similar to what we just did here, it just gets a little more complicated when it comes to the branches here. Alright, so to get that started, let's actually head back over to our first sequence that we made. Let's add another pin. I'm just going to quickly reorganize these, going to do that there. Drag out the first one and add another sequence here. Okay, we're going to make sure that one has 3 pins because again we're having 3 different selections to choose from. Okay, let's compile and save that real quick before anything else. Alright, so let's get started by adding in a few branches. And copy paste that a few times, there we go. And let's get these all hooked up. And that third one. Okay, same thing for the condition, we're gonna get an integer equals, there we go. Copy and paste that a few times, get that hooked up. Drag that out a bit, these up. Okay, and now we're gonna wanna create another variable, another integer here. I'm gonna rename that roof type. There we go, and make that one visible as well. And let's go ahead and drag that out. Get roof type, plug that into the first value. Alright, label these 3, 2, and 1. Oh, almost forgot. Let's go back to roof type, edit that real quick. Slider range for this one, again, will be from 1 to 3. Again, same thing as the value range. There we are. Compile that. Alright, now we're going to want to bring in a few more mesh instances that we're going to be using for this. We're going to be bringing in another ring. We're also going to bring in a blank middle section. We can just call that like a top module. And then our 3 different roof types, which would be the spire, turret, and destroyed. Also for the turret, we're going to also add in a top wood floor. because it doesn't really come with anything to seal it off. Okay, let's add those components now. Okay, now we just need to get those to spawn within our blueprint with add instance. Now that we have that all set up, this is where it's going to get a little bit confusing. Basically, we're going to have each selection spawn a different combination of these meshes. I already have this up on my other screen, so I'll just color code them for you. But basically, every single one of the selections is going to spawn the top ring. Only 3 and 2 are going to spawn the top module. And then 3 goes to Spire, 2 goes to Turret, 1 goes to Destroyed. We just need to move the wood floor up behind Turret. There we go. Alright, and that's all set. So let's add a sequence onto the front of these branches here. All plugging into true. There we go. Move these back a little bit. Get these all lined up. And let's see. Yeah, we're just gonna remove a pin off of this. Okay, and we're all set up. Alright, now we just need to tell our meshes where to go. We already have a bit of that information here with top, so I'm going to get that, and I'm going to plug it into destroyed, top module, and top ring. And for the next one, let's create another variable, make that a transform. Let's call that Spire Turret Offset. Let's compile that real quick so we can edit. Alright, let's change that Z value of the turret, of the Spire turret offset to 1200. There we go. Bring that in, get, plug that into turret, Spire, and the wood floor. Alright, compile that one more time. Alright, now we have all the different sections needed to make a tower. Let's hop over to viewport just to see our progress. Okay, there we are. Looks like destroyed is working just fine. Let's see. Roof type 2. Oh, that's spawning a bit high. Hold on, I think I know what's going on there. Let's see. Turret. And, yeah, that's why. I selected the wrong turret piece. We want this one here. Okay, let's put that in. Compile. Viewport again. Alright, back to normal. That's good. Okay. And okay, looks like the spire is in as well. Let's change the height a bit. Tower height. Okay, so we're almost done here. We just have one more step, and that's basically telling all of our top pieces to update every time we add another middle section. That just involves a bit of math, but we already have everything we need here. And while I'm thinking about it, let's just go ahead and remove the maximum on the height slider here. There we go. Alright, compile that to C. Tower height, okay. Now you can make it as tall as you want. So let's head back over to our construction script. Scroll down here, and what we want for this is all of our top sections that we just did, plus our column that we have here. And for each of these, we're going to want to grab an update instance transform. Okay, we've got those ready to go. Now time for the math part, which will be the translation information that we're going to feed into these. Let's head back over here, and let's see. Okay, we're going to add another section's worth of height here on top of the other sections that we've already created, so these pieces don't spawn in the top section. Okay, drag off that, another make vector, plug that into the z-axis, and make transform. Okay, and we're going to plug this here into destroyed column top ring and top module. Alright, those pieces are taken care of. We still have a few more here, but we're going to go back, take off this plus 600, add another section's worth of height, because these two pieces here, the spire and the turret, have a little bit different origin set than the rest of these. So there we go, plus 600 into another make vector, into another make transform. Okay, plug those up there and there. And since we want the wood floor to go on top of the turret, this is where we add another 600. And same thing here. Also, we are going to change the rotation of the wood floor a bit, just so that the hatch on it lines up with the top of the staircase. And for that, we're going to do negative 45 degrees in the z-axis rotation. Let's plug that up, compile, save. Okay, now we got all the math set up. Now we want these to actually fire off. So we're going to grab off from, let's put another pin here, because we want this to check for the positional update every time something's changed. So let's drag that here with another sequence. And let's see, how many pins do we need? 1, 2, 3, 6. Okay, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, let's hook those up. Alright, compile and save one more time. And let's go and check the viewport. Okay. Let's change that tower height a bit. Okay, that's updating. So far, so good. And oh, okay, that's spawning a bit too high. Looks like I didn't actually need this. Let's go ahead and delete that. This. Just hook that back up into this one here. Let's compile, save again, viewport. Okay, looks to be all fixed. And yep. Okay, that seems to be it. Looking good. So now we know how to make a procedurally generated tower with options. Thank you very much for watching the video. Hopefully I was able to explain everything clearly and you didn't get too lost along the way. Anyways, depending on this video's reception, thinking about doing more of these in the future. Anyways, let me know down in the comments. Thanks again. Bye.